In our most recent episode of Impulsive, we discussed a very controversial PSA that was aired this last week by the Sandy Hook Promise. I wanted to use this video as a chance to spark a conversation with you, whoever's watching, whether you're a student, whether you're a parent, whether you're a teacher. I want to learn what your thoughts are on this situation because I've gotten hundreds of DMs, I've gotten dozens of emails from young people who are 14, from parents who have 3 kids. Before I share any specific viewpoints that I have, I want to air the clip from Impaulsive so that you can get context as to what we're talking about and why this is a relevant conversation to be having. The reason I wanted to post this video is because I'm about to go on a tour across America, and my goal is to find solutions to a lot of the areas within our education system that are broken. Whether it be creativity and imagination, whether it be student loan debt, whether it be school shootings and mental health, I want to find solutions and I want to find innovative schools that are doing something to make the world a better place and to make the education system a better place for our kids and for future generations. Last note before I air the clip, if there's a school that you think I should visit, or if there's a city, a college, a mental health program that you think I should research, please comment below. I'll also provide an email so that you can communicate with me directly. So check out this clip and then I'll provide some thoughts that I have right after.
Hate to switch the vibe, but I feel like we should talk about this Sandy Hook video that went viral recently. If I play this, will I get... I think I can play it.
What do you mean don't play it? It's just like...
It's pretty gross, man. I'm gonna be honest. It's disgusting.
I don't.
Maybe we could play like a little clip.
I'll play a little clip of it. I'll play it until it gets like kind of fucked up.
Now this
year, my mom got me the perfect bag for back to school.
Now
These
this put that out. Wow.
help me stay organized.
These headphones are just what I need for studying.
These new sneakers are just what I need for the new year.
This jacket is a real must-have.
My parents got me the skateboard I wanted. It's pretty cool.
Dude, this really actually pisses me the fuck off. I'm not one to get pissed about stuff. This pisses me off. That sensationalizes and normalizes school shootings. And I get there's another side to the conversation, which we can talk about. But damn, that's fucked up. Because what you have experienced in your life and the destruction that the audience is going to send your way for trying to bring some awareness to an issue, it's exactly what they're doing right here. That's exactly what they're fucking doing. They're trying to sensationalize something, get views, and get traffic. I don't give a fuck if it's to a good cause. You do not do it like that. You do not. It's so sad to me that our education system has gotten to this point. It's so fucking sad. Like in Michigan, where I'm from, there's a $40 million school that's being built right now with windows that are all bulletproof, curved hallways. We're building schools to prevent school shootings. $40 million. You could send 800 kids to college, a $50,000 college for free. Like, this is the route we're going with education? It's fucked, man.
I agree. I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I am too. I saw it. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, coming from someone who makes shock value sometimes to push an agenda, this is way too far. There are so many better ways to go about this. And I think what you said about it sensationalizing the school shootings is exactly what it's doing. Nothing about this. It's just sad. I watched this and it's just sad. Like, what is the call to action that now?
That's the biggest question.
Yeah, like now we need, is it just to scare people? Because it is heavy. And by the way, like.
Do you want to know what I just thought of while watching that? It's kind of a side thought, unfortunately. It steers away a little bit, but the biggest booming industry that is going to exist in the United States in the next 5 years, I'm calling it right now, is the need for in-home teachers. My sister has a 1.5-year-old son. That kid's never going to public school. There are millions of other mothers in this country and millions of kids right now that will never see the inside of a public school in this country. If I had a child right now and the thought was, okay, kid, when the bullets start flying, which unfortunately they're going to, if you watch that,
Right.
your school's going to get shot up.
Right.
That's what they're saying.
It's teaching
basically.
fear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to do.
teaching
Here's
fear.
what I'm going to do. I'm not going to send my kid to school, man, not to learn trigonometry, because guess what? You're not going to fucking use it anyways.
Yeah.
That-
Okay, so I'm gonna keep him home. I'm gonna teach him about how to be a good marketer, a good business person, and by the way, I'm gonna get his YouTube channel started. Okay, because
smart.
that shit is fucked.
Want to know what is happening right now? That this money and this attention should be going to is we warehouse children in prisons. In prisons, 14,000 hours of their life are spent in a building. 14,000 hours. That's so much time. And we're putting them in these buildings and we're teaching them to fear school shootings instead of let's raise money for mental health and let's individualize curriculum. Let's build relationships with every single student. If you did that, you would be able to say, this kid's a serious problem
Yeah,
child.
yeah.
And we need to pull him away because he could be a potential hazard to the school. You look at most school shootings, they see that these kids are,
sure.
are
Every
up,
time.
and they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to get everybody to fear and download a guide to prepare for your school to get shot.
Horrifying.
Are you?
Horrifying.
Who thinks of this? And now this, a platform of millions, puts that out.
And
Because they know it's going to get views. That's 100% why they did it. Did any of you guys ever do a school shooting drill or watch a
course
video?
not.
yeah, we call them lockdown drills.
Oh, yeah, we did
a lockdown
that,
drill.
yeah.
But did you see a video of like kids
No.
running and screaming? Did you see on the news like school shootings happening every other week? It's happening, right? It's happening. But can you imagine what these kids are going through after they watch that kind of stuff? We have no idea.
No idea.
We're not
no
the
idea.
kids.
We're
We're just spraying it out there and being like, I think this is gonna work. Let's get views. Like, dude, this is terrifying if you're a kid.
So as you can tell, I'm pretty charged up about this. This is a topic that I'm very passionate about because I think that we are missing the narrative. I think that issues like this that are popping up about school shootings, about student loan debt, whatever it is, the conversation that we need to be having is about mental health. So like I said earlier, I've gotten hundreds of DMs and I got this email from a 14-year-old. I'm not gonna share her name, but she said, I've been struggling with depression and anxiety, and I even have a self-harm history and a history of wanting to commit suicide. It means so much to people who are going through this that people are finally addressing it. And another thing is you asked if high schoolers are scared to go to school every day, and the answer is yes. I'm scared that there could be a shooting or someone who means harm gets into our school. She later went on to say, also, I want to address the school shooting video. I think it's scary and it shows us, the teenagers, that even with our drills, we are still in danger. Several of these school shooters were involved in the drills that were designed to keep kids safe. The school shooter at Parkland, for example, went through the drills and knew to pull the fire alarm to unlock doors. So that's a perfect example to show that preventative measures against school shootings and against gun violence is not the answer. That's a band-aid solution. If we really want to get down to fixing this crisis that we have, to fixing school shootings, we have to address mental health. So it's important to note that this video, the Sandy Hook Promise PSA, was created by Nicole Hockley, who did lose one of her children in this school shooting. I was not affected, nor have I been affected by a school shooting directly. So I understand why the video's been made. And I understand a lot of the PSAs that they've made have been effective. And to be quite honest, I am glad that they did put this video out because I'm talking about it, we're talking about it, we're having the conversation. So my goal here isn't to be a part of the cancel culture and to try to end them for what they're doing. I think they just could have done it in a better way. During my research, I found another person who was affected by the Sandy Hook school shooting. And his name is JT Lewis. He's now 19 years old. This happened 7 years ago, believe it or not. And his brother was responsible for saving the lives of 9 of his fellow classmates before he went to go to try to protect his teacher, and then he was shot and killed. JT tweeted, "The Sandy Hook Promise video should not use graphic images of school shootings to get PR attention. Remember, that's how the media creates copycat shooters." He went on to later say, having lost a brother in the Sandy Hook shooting, I want it to be clear that the Sandy Hook Promise doesn't speak for me. The organization is run by 2 families of victims, but most of us stay far away. JT also did an interview with Eric Bowling, which I thought was really interesting because he's running for Senate. So out of anybody that I want to listen to, I do want to listen to somebody like JT who's been affected by gun violence and is also running to get into a position of power in government to be a part of the solution. What JT talks about I think is really important because what we're looking at with the PSA from Sandy Hook, the narrative shifts from a school shooting almost directly into gun control. We kind of skip the narrative of mental health completely. We think that getting rid of guns is going to be the solution. And in this video of JT, I think it's very profound because there's over 1,000 schools that have allowed teachers to carry arms. And in those 1,000 schools, there have not been one shooting, not any act of violence. So right there, we learn it's going to be very hard to eliminate guns, right? Because we have evidence that it's not necessarily the guns that are the issue, it's the safety precautions that are being taken place within these schools. In closing, the most important thing that we can do is equip people with the tools to understand mental health and understand the red flags that appear if we are going to send our kids to school so that they can be better equipped to handle these issues. The most powerful weapon we have is not a gun, it's our mind. And if our mind is equipped to understand mental health, then we, in a sense, can solve these problems that we're facing within education. During my research, I was brought into the Parkland shooting, which I actually created a PSA documentary that got multiple millions of views, and it drove a lot of positive awareness to the victims of the Parkland shooting. When I was studying this shooting, what really stuck out to me is one of the dads of the victims did a comprehensive study at all of the times that there was a red flag around the shooter. In middle school, the shooter was suspended every other day. There was countless instances where parents, students, and teachers voiced concern for this student. There's many examples that show he was on medication as well. So what we see is somebody who's dealing with mental health, but they're still being put into a high school and middle school classroom setting. These kids should be removed and they should be given special care. We shouldn't alienate them. We shouldn't make them feel bad about themselves, but we should find a way to holistically deal with their mental health. And when we don't do that, when we ignore these signs and we ignore the voices of our youth who are scared, who are concerned about a fellow classmate that is making them nervous, that's a recipe for disaster. I want to end this video on a positive note, and I want to let you know if you're a student, if you're a teacher, if you're a parent, please voice up if you ever feel scared or threatened by a student, by somebody's actions. In the media within the last month, we've seen multiple people who have threatened their school or who have come across as suspicious get arrested or get taken into a juvenile program. So this is good news because there are positive signs that we are waking up to mental health and we're becoming more aware of the warning signs. So I ask you, if you're a student out there, if you're a young person that's going to school, please understand that your voice is powerful and it matters. If you're scared, if somebody's doing something that you think is dangerous, please voice that to somebody at your school, to your parents. And if somebody doesn't listen or take you seriously, keep insisting and keep going to somebody at a higher seat of authority. You are the only chance that we have to prevent school shootings. And instead of laughing at these individuals, instead of alienating them, instead of pushing people away that we think are weird, we need to start reaching out. We need to start spreading love. And no matter how different or weird somebody may be, there's a tremendous amount of power in acknowledging someone, in being there for someone, into being compassionate for someone, even if we feel like they don't deserve it. My good friend Kevin Hines is a perfect example. He tried to commit suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge, and he said that if just one person would have acknowledged him that whole day, he wouldn't have jumped off the bridge. Sometimes that's all that people need, is some communication, is just some acknowledgement that they exist. Sadly, I think this PSA missed the mark. I think we're focusing too much on the wrong issues. The main issue we're facing, and please do not get it twisted, is that mental health needs to become a priority. We spend 14,000 hours in K through 12 education. It takes 10,000 hours to become a professional at something, right? So why don't we have professionals who are equipped to handle mental health issues by the time they leave high school? Well, it's because the resources aren't going there. We're spending $48 million on schools to prevent school shootings. Why isn't that $48 million getting used to enhance mental health programs and mental health awareness? I ask you, if you're a parent, if you see your school starting to spend money on new schools and new technologies to help keep your school safe, encourage them to at least spend the same amount of money enhancing mental health conversations. That's it for this video. I want you to get engaged with this conversation. It's really important that we start to talk about mental health. We start to talk about the solutions to our broken education system. So I'm about to go on tour across America, all the way to Washington, D.C. and back. I'm visiting tons of different schools. If you think you have a story that's worth being told, or if you know an innovative school that I should visit, please comment below, or please email me to get in direct contact. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I love you, and I'll see you soon.